Hi and welcome once again. Congratulations on getting to this point again. In this module, we'll be talking about the roles and responsibilities. Now, you've done the values, you have your vision, your mission. We've talked about attentional neurons. Now, the most important part again is, at this point in your life, either in business or in your personal relationship or, in your life as a whole, you want to keep asking the same question. What is the most important thing for you right now? Now, in terms of values, if you've written down your values, you'll be able to do this much more easily, all right? So if you look at your roles, let's start looking at it, first of all, okay? What are roles and responsibilities, first of all? Well, in life, you have certain roles. Like, you usually tend to think, what's my job description at work? And for some of you, you have a lot of difficulty at work, either in your career, either in the government, or either in your own business. Why? Because you have no idea what you're doing. The role is not clear. You have the description, but the manager doesn't know what he's doing. The manager doesn't even know what their role is. If you're in the government, maybe that manager is going to, somewhere else in a year or 6 months, doesn't really care about which role is what. Nothing is defined. Even in companies, I worked with companies and didn't have the basic roles defined and outlined. Everybody would be doing this. The manager would be doing that, and then at one point the manager will, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's not even their job description. It's not even their role, but they're doing it because the other person doesn't know how to do it, and they hired him anyways, or her. And at one point, everything's all messed up. Why? There's no direction. There's no accountability. There's no role defined, so you can't lead a boat if you don't know who the captain is, or you can't fly a plane if you don't know the pilot is, or if it's the stewardess role is to give chips or to fly the plane, or the pilot is here to give me some water, I would be very, very nervous, to be honest with you. I'd be like, uh-oh, maybe I should get a parachute at this point. What are your roles? Now let's look at it. You have the definition in terms of the work inside the worksheet, and you also have exercises, but I'll go at it really fast with you here. One of the roles that I have is as a father, as a businessman, as a civilian, as a Canadian. As a Canadian, I have certain values which I uphold. All right, so sometimes I talk with some of my friends that are immigrants, and I said, listen, you can't do that here. Why? Because, in your country, sometimes there's corruption. Here, there's corruption. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure there is, but it's not as in some countries. But the role here is you have to remember as a Canadian that we have a set of values which are the Charter of Human Rights. So whenever I talk with lawyers and I'm dealing with immigrants that come from other countries and they're scared because, in their countries, the person pays the judge and this and that. Here, it's a little bit harder to do that, okay? Why? Because we believe that you have the right as a woman to defend yourself. You have the right to shelter, protection. And so we're more of a socialistic, capitalistic, but a little bit more socialistic. In terms of when there's people on the street, we tend to do a little bit more, or the hospitals, are free, education is a bit cheaper, those type of things, okay? In terms of, I'm a brother, I'm a son, so for you, maybe as an employee, what is your role? Define it. If you're not sure, go ask your manager. If they can't say, then you have a problem, all right? But you're better to be aware of the problem, not be aware, and then, keeping messing up or being depressed or feeling that you have anxiety because you can't perform well, you're not sure if you're, and one of the biggest problems in organizations or corporations that I've seen over 25 years experience in it is the lack of appreciation. Why? Because it's understood that you're just doing your job, even though you don't know what it is or it's not defined, you're just doing it, and if you do extra, then, okay? If it's not your role and you're doing extra, then your manager should appreciate you and should give you proper either reward, just saying thank you. Just say thank you instead of, you know what, can you get me that? You get it. And you're like, okay, now, all right. In terms of responsibility is the same thing. To be able to respond, your responsibility. So if you don't know what your responsibilities are, then you should write them down. As a father, my responsibility is to take care of my son, to make sure he's fed, to make sure he's clothed properly because it's winter, minus 20, and telling him, okay, you can wear shorts today, or he says, I'm going to wear shorts and just leave him outside. He might become Frosty the Snowman in no time. And then I'll have child services call me. Hi. All right. So what are your responsibilities as a father, as a parent, as a son, as a, it could be all the way to cousin, all depending on how deep you want to go in terms of those responsibilities. Okay, but again, as a family member, what is your responsibility? Is it my responsibility to call my cousins? I think we're 125 just on my mom's side. Uncles, aunts, cousin. I think the last time I heard is 125 or 130, 4 more coming. All right, so am I gonna call these nephews and niece every weekend and say, you know what, let's do something? I think I'll bring it down a little bit more. So in terms of responsibility, what is your responsibility? Okay, define it, because if you don't know what it is, then you act properly, and most of the time what will happen is you either neglect your son, your daughter, your spouse, your friends, okay? I'm also a friend. One of my roles is a friend. I have a couple of friends. Okay, so in terms of time management, you want to look at 2 things actually. ROI and ROE. Return on investment and return on time, all right? In terms of time management, this is why roles and responsibility is so important, because you only have an amount of time per day. It doesn't matter if you're the richest billionaire in the world or you're on the street, you have 24 hours on this planet. Unless you're thinking of going to the moon or some other planet where there's more time, I'd say you stick to this one and start working with it. So in terms of time, okay, write down your roles and then write down per week and per month. As an example, twice a month, I'll talk to my best friends, okay? Maybe half an hour, just say, or just text them on Facebook. An hour a week, I will look at all the Facebook people that have written me something, and if I didn't have time to get to them, I will give them some information. In terms of Facebook groups, I have specific groups. I think I have 10 of them so far. I should have more, but I've just started. In terms of my goal, I'm talking, not because I have to, but I wanted to. So in terms of that, 10 groups. So I'll have people from, today I had somebody from Poland, from Italy, from Australia, give me hints and tips on how to work on my advertising and marketing plan, which I found, wow, okay. And so in terms of them, I'll allow them time, or I'll give them some of my time at the same time. Sometimes I'll give them videos just so they see me in terms of giving them information, because I can't be everywhere at the same time. Or I'll do a mastermind or a Facebook Live, all right? Just to make sure I keep in terms of entertaining, because in terms of business person, I have to be in the social media as a public figure and also as a person who's a human being who wants to serve, all right? Maybe if one of your values is generosity, you'll give a little bit more time or efforts or resources, okay? That's up to you to define. In terms of responsibilities, then you define them. As an employee, what are your responsibilities? If they're not your responsibility, maybe you want to address it with your boss or with the leader that's in charge of whatever program or vision you're following, okay? And in terms of, let's say if you're a CEO, maybe you want to look at, the company and look at if you're just starting to work at the company, or if you're there to rearrange it, or you've been there for a long time, maybe you want to review the values, the mission statement, the vision statement, mission statement, and also look at the fact of, okay, what are the responsibilities for this person? How can I oil this machine a little bit better? All right. Write down your roles, write down responsibilities. When we coach, I'll be asking you for them, and then we'll define them in terms of how to allocate time on your schedule, not on the list of to-do lists, which is just waste of time. On your schedule. Time with my son. Thursday night, Lego night, 7 to 8. Tuesday night, goes to his mother. Wednesday night, go watch a movie once a month, $5 special or whatever that cinema is. You bring a couple of kids, okay? As a father, responsibility. Make sure my child has activities for sport, eats properly, and has friends, so allocate some time for that. All right, spouse, go out, talk with, read a book and discuss it afterward, or go see a movie, or go out and dance. All right. In terms of business, marketing, sales, talking with the people, talking with the suppliers, talking with my team. All right, ROT. Return on time, to give you ROE, which is return, or ROI. Oh my God, what am I messed up in these words? ROI, which is return on investment. All right. Once again, I'm so happy that you've made it to this module. Keep going, even though sometimes it's a bit harder, you're not sure. Call, text, Facebook Messenger, I'm there for you. I'll see you in the next module.